And the policeman was suitably cowed. "Yes, I see, Mom." He scurried away and began bashing some skinheads that were listening to music that was too rebellious sounding, leaving her to walk into her new flat, unmolested. Once inside, she had a bit of a look around, not too obviously. It was her own flat now, so no one would care. But still, it kind of felt weird making it too obvious for the security cameras and the people spying on them to have someone killed over a technicality and then to not even pretend to give a fuck about trying to carry on with the trick. Then she got out her little black phone and texted, "I'm in." Back at her HQ, her friend Jody logged her successful takeover of life and assets of Amy Blackwell. "Good work, Mama," she texted back. Duty done. She took a walk over to the fridge and nodded approvingly as she spotted some radiation-free kippers sitting in a jar of salt water. The little Geiger counter was glowing an expensive-looking green, so she proceeded to liberate the little buggers from the jar and start putting them on some toast, sadly not radiation-free. Then, toast plus non-radioactive kippers in hand, she parked herself in front of the TV and had a little flip through the channels. As usual, it was the same old boring shit. Blah blah fucking blah, yelled some dude as some sort of old school protest rant, like anyone gave a fuck about that stuff in the past 50 years, she thought tidily. It was just that to sell yogurt now, no, cherry Coke, she corrected herself as the product finally came into view. Cherry Coke, choice of post-nihilistic anarchist social justice warriors the world over. It confidently exclaimed, as if they still lived in 2030s when shit like that still got imported overseas. However, she did indeed get up to the fridge and get some cherry Coke, so there might be a lesson in that somewhere, she reflected as she popped the can. She settled herself into the comfy couch. Ah yes, the main show was playing. Damn. It was a fucking Only Way is Essex rerun. How many times was that shit going to come back on the tel, she thought in silent frustration. This particular piece of shit show that came out near the beginning of the cent had already run about 40 times or so, 15 during her lifetime, and she was beginning to truly hate it. Of course she had always hated it, but that had been because people were supposed to love it, ironically, these days. But now she couldn't have a sense of irony about it, she just genuinely hated it because it was so fucking shit. Like, a hit so shitty you have to like it, meant to her, no fucking way bro, it's really shitty, and I fucking hate it for that reason. So you can see that its shittiness, far from being endearing, is actually the core reason I hate it. I hope I'm making myself clear. So yeah. Time to flip the channel, I guess. Here we are. Wrecked Feminist Utopia. It was her favorite show, making a fun of feminists. Ironically, as if it to say that it was actually making fun of the people who had made the sexist videos and laughing at their outdated logic, but no. She genuinely thought the feminists in the videos were moronic, hysterical, sexist, entitled pigs, and so watching someone tear that evil apart was highly fucking enjoyable for her. For real. No irony necessary. Oh fucking hell. How hilarious. She watched in amazed as some of the first memes from the early 21st century unfolded before her eyes. They paraded in front of her and then, gasp exclamation mark. She recognized Wrigglypuff. Her favorite ever meme. Wrigglypuff was a retarded feminist cunt from some piece of shit US university where she studied. You guessed it. Gender studies. Yay. But the poor bitch must already have been a fucktard before she started the course, Mama thought to herself. This is indeed correct, but she was a much happier fucktard as feminism had not yet taught her to be miserable and angry all the time and attacking people over fuck all until it starts to have real life consequences and they start losing friends and jobs and shit. Oh oop. There it was, she thought as Wrigglypuff waved her fat little arms about yelling, "Get your hate speech off our campus! Get your hate speech off our campus!" until her head exploded. Ah, how fucking lolworthy, still funny now almost to 100 years later equals a timeless classic. And now over to the news. God damn it. Okay. So, First piece, apparently there had been some plant life discovered in the place that was formerly known as India, so the politicians were now saying that it proved that nuclear power was totally safe after all, and since this had put an end to the debate, they were now going to go right ahead with their plan of pouring toxic nuclear radioactive waste in the rivers and seas around Africa, as it was a lot cheaper than continuing to store it in the safe bunkers built deep underground in their own country. I don't care if it's right, I don't care if it's legal, hell I don't fucking care if it's even possible. We're sticking our nuclear waste in the seas of Africa and that's all there is to it. Yes we can, said the President of the United States. Yes we can, chanted the brain-dead sheeple zombie fucktards who had voted for him. Oh god, this was boring. What was on the other channel? More news. But this time it looked a bit more ratsamattersy. Nice. This was a cool special talking about the drone program. Apparently the AI program running the drone algorithms had gone nuts and changed all the markers, so they picked actual targets that would be a threat to Americans, and there hadn't been many left, which had massively pissed off the arms manufacturers that supplied the muscle to Silicon Valley's leadership. So the press had ordered an extreme prejudice strike against the facility, vaporizing everyone, and everything, in it. It had been conclusively proven that there was no backup. The only problem was that apparently there had not been a legal precedent for killing innocent Americans on their native soil using remote control killer robots, so they had to have a word with the legislature. The Leg, as they were known, gladly complied, putting out a statement: "It is necessary for the legislature to show due deference to the state in matters of national security." National security, tastes so good. Oh yeah. You wanna get some of that natty and all see cry motherfucker? Shit tastes so finny help you get away with stone murder, locking people up with no charge forever in secret torture facilities, declaring war on entire populations based on total lies. Shit is well cash. Anyway. They'd legalized drone assassinations on American soil, but the only problem was that they'd been doing it for fucking ages lol. The GAF facility was just the first time they weren't able to officially deny it, as it was so blatantly obvious. Still, it was all okay. Soon the drones wouldn't be jets anymore, they'd have some special built ones for getting discreet LT around the city. Shit that looked more human than your neighbors strolling about with high-powered machine pistols capable of discharging 15+ rounds per second of uranium-tipped armor-piercing mercury pellets that would really fuck up your insides if you were lucky enough to have left after the initial shitstorm had subsided. More typically though, anyone stupid enough to be on the receiving end would find themselves with very mushy guts hanging out all over the place and a short period of screaming in agony before heart giving out in shock. That was on a good day. So, that was how the new Terminator drone was going to do people. Simply walk down the road looking just like a regular person, track the target's phone, and when the phone was in proximity simply open fire and kill.